Textile basically was cotton based. Cotton was the predominant raw material. Over time, what has happened is with customer demands, synthetic fabric has started to increase in demand. Various customer requirements for active wear, for a change in lifestyle, synthetic fabric has started to take its place. Teejay also had the same kind of transition from cotton to synthetic, and as a result of that, Teejay is producing synthetic as a pair. The textile industry in the past was predominantly cotton. It was based out of this region, the South subcontinent region, where the main growers such as India, China, Australia, and USA were predominant growers of it. So textile basically was cotton based, and cotton was the predominant raw material. Over time, what has happened is with customer demands, synthetic fabric has started to increase in demand. The reason is because of various customer requirements for active wear, for a change in lifestyle, synthetic fabric has started to take its place. Teejay also had the same kind of transition from cotton to synthetic, and as a result of that, Teejay is producing synthetic as a pair. So what led to this would basically be customer requirement, and customer requirement has been moving to, they're looking for more traceability at the moment. They're looking for more sustainable products at the moment. And sustainability and ESG has been becoming a predominant part of textiles as of now. If you look at how that has also changed, how the textile production was predominantly based out of China, and it is moving with the requirement of resilient supply chains to countries like India, Bangladesh, East Africa, as well as Sri Lanka to a certain extent. In the synopsis, if you look at the textile industry, it has been changing. And in the last 2 years, post-COVID, a significant change has happened where customers are mainly looking at resilient supply chains as well as risk mitigation for sourcing fabric rather than having it in one location. We have signed up for the UN Sustainability Goals of 2030 and 2050. Basically, to achieve these targets that we have set up Abhivara from the sustainability side, where it covers emissions, it covers resources, and it covers biodiversity. So if you look at emissions, we are looking at reducing our emissions by 30% for the targets of 2030. If you're looking at resource management, we're looking at reducing our water consumption by 50%. We're looking at reducing our energy consumption by 50%. And we're looking at having a full range of sustainable products by 2050. If you look at under Abhivara, we look at biodiversity, where we are basically looking at growing 1 million trees across Sri Lanka and India. Basically, what we're trying to do is we're trying to grow trees to strengthen the banks of the Godavari River as well as the Kalani River. That is from biodiversity point of view that we're looking at. So to grow 1 million trees by 2050, we need to plant almost 1.5 times, because just because you plant a sapling, it doesn't turn out to be a tree. And if you look at from the product side of it, we look at sustainability from our raw materials and the products that we manufacture for the demand in customer. So if you look at the main materials that go into fabric, it's basically cotton, where we looked at organic cotton, and now we're moving to region cotton. If you look at polyester side, we are basically looking at recycled polyester. How it happens is PET bottles are recycled, and then we are also looking at biodegradable polyesters for yarns, which go into our fabrics and in turn goes into apparel products. From a nylon point of view, we are also looking at recycled nylon. We are working on initiatives where fish nets are recycled and spun back into yarn, which we use into our fabrics, which we basically sell to our customers. Our customers are quite keen on sustainable products. Customers such as Nike, PVH, VS and Co, Marks and Spencer are our main products, where sustainability is playing a vital role, and they do have targets for basically energy consumption, water consumption, and sustainability overall. So if you look at sustainability is basically getting the maximum output of out of the minimum input, right? That is, in summary, we could basically look at sustainability as well as having circularity, where whatever you use continuously keeps going around the chain. So TJ is basically looking at various different angles. From a sustainability point of view, if you look at the coloring elements of fabric, which is its dyes and chemicals, we are basically using zero hazardous dyes and chemicals across the operation. As a result of all these initiatives that we have basically done, we have become number one on the Higg Index. The Higg Index is basically a ranking out of 14,000 institutions, which basically measures the sustainability initiatives that are being carried out. So TJ has been ranked number one. So it's a great thing for TJ as well as for the country, Sri Lanka. And we are very pleased with the initiatives our teams have basically taken to achieve this success. Basically, what we have done is we have created a structure, ESG committee, which looks after all areas on ESG, which is the environment, social and governance. So this committee, what we have done is our 2030 targets, we have broken down, and we basically have a 3-year rolling target, three-year targets that we want to achieve. And when this team identifies what areas that are needed to be done, we basically look at investments, which is one of the main areas that need to bring change, especially from the production side of things, because it's heavy machinery that needs to be purchased. And the 3-year targets are basically looked at on an annual basis, and targets are set, teams are aligned, and basically work to achieving. So we believe in a step-by-step process, being consistent to achieve the end goal. So we believe that as one of our fundamental things to achieve our ESG goals. So it is basically in our DNA at the moment. We have structured the organization in such a way that every year we have a target and we go ahead and achieve it. So the main challenges that we've been facing is everything is new when it comes to this. So it is basically changing mindsets and also identifying how we get to these targets that have been set by the UN sustainability goals. So once we set up the structure, one of the main challenges that we identified was how do we get to these goals? With the expertise and skill set that we had within the team, we understood that one is we need to change our mindset. Number two is we had to identify methods in getting expertise to implement these strategies that we had, or the plans that we had. So we started collaborating heavily with organizations such as Science-Based Targets, SBTI. We also started working with Reset Carbon. So Reset Carbon basically measures the carbon emissions that we have. So it is certified. Then the science-based targets were basically areas where we identified what we need to do and how we go about it. So we had a plan, we had measurements, and then we also had a ranking which came from Higg Index, which ranked us number one for the work that we have been doing. Changing mindset on people. Basically, it was communicating what is right, what we need to do, and how to do the right thing. Those were how we basically brought in solutions to the challenges that we did face. There are certain positives also that do come from this. When you are basically having ESG targets and you have a structured approach on achieving this, you do get funding. There are sustainable funds that do come into play. Multinational banks do have funds where they give you financing at a lower rate, and as a result of that, you have access to these funds. So, like they say, doing good does pay off to a great extent. But this is a huge change. It has come quite fast, and the demand for change is quite strong. And Teejay has basically geared itself to achieve those changes and transform from a traditional mill to an environmentally friendly, sustainable organization. So the next phase for TJ is basically hitting our 2050 targets. It's basically having net zero emissions. And we are working on various different areas, from our suppliers to getting better sustainable products, newer products, new innovative products. On our raw material side, we are looking at new machinery, new technology. We are also looking at digital capabilities where we monitor factory operations digitally. This will enable us to identify how machinery is performing. We have just implemented a system basically to identify how much of water we consume, how much of energy we consume. In addition to that, we're basically looking at how we can improve the skill set in our organization through training and development across the entire organization, from the shop floor all the way to executives. And we hope with a 3-year rolling targets to identify all roadblocks and keep on moving to ensure that we achieve the 2050 UN targets that we have signed up for.